Yes, Rakesh started.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on a startup story. And so today we have with us Hema, short for Hemalata Annamalai, and she is the founder of Ampere Vehicles, now an acquired company by Cotton Greaves Cotton rather, Ampere by Greaves Cotton. And Hema is the founder of Ampere Vehicles, an early mover that spearheaded India's e-vehicle revolution. Ampere has carved a niche for itself as an innovative technology creator in the nascent Indian electric vehicle industry, contributing to environmental sustainability. Ampere has been recently acquired by Greaves Cotton Limited. In fact, one of the investors in Ampere was Mr. Ratan Tata himself. A serial entrepreneur, Hema has spent the last 25 years creating and driving varied entrepreneurial ventures spanning from professional services, electronics training, and automobiles. Hema strongly promotes job creation, focuses on women empowerment. She also invests and mentors innovative, disruptive startups from smaller cities that solve societal problems. Hema is also the president of TIE, which is the Indus Entrepreneurs Coimbatore, and also the chair of TIE Women, a global initiative of TIE that embrace, engage, and empowers women. She holds an MBA from RMIT, which is Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, Australia, and a bachelor's in computer science and engineering from Government College of Technology, Coimbatore. Thank you, Hema, for coming on our webinar and also agreeing to share your story about starting this wonderful startup and your journey. If you could share with us, and also the story of the acquisition and the next steps as well.
Yeah, thank you, Rakesh. Am I audible to all? Is it very clear?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay, good. Thank you, SINE and its strategic partners, Department of Science and Technology and Intel for giving me this opportunity. I had a great call with Ashok of Intel and Rakesh, who were explaining to me about SINE and how they help tech-driven entrepreneurs from start to scale. In terms of incubating and guiding them completely at SINE incubation lab situated in IIT Mumbai. So it's an opportunity also for me to explain what went through, because any journey, is what it can be very interesting, provided we are very committed to make that happen, right? So I will take, I think we have 1 hour today. So what I will do is that I will spend about 30 minutes of my journey, why I became an entrepreneur, why I plunged into manufacturing, what are the challenges, how did I overcome the mistakes, that I made, learnings from that, and why did I exit? Okay, so I'll just make it very simply, and then perhaps I will also share certain real life experiences, what I went through. Because I think it's very easy to go through books and all that, but I think I always prefer to share what I went through, so that the learnings can be deep for many entrepreneurs who are actually venturing into products or manufacturing or into services. Okay, and then after the session, perhaps I will take few questions, and then try to do justice for all of your time. I think you have all coming on a Friday evening weekend, so I want to appreciate that, and I want to ensure that I make it extremely interesting for all of you. Okay. So with that introduction, I'm not sure whether here are there any participants, driven the electric bike, electric scooter, electric car, and all that. So I'll assume that the audience know about electric vehicles already. So I will not dive a lot into products per se, the advantages, why electric and all that, because that's kind of given right now. But I will go into why I started this company, why I got into manufacturing. Yeah, because that will actually give some certain idea to the people, as nothing is difficult or nothing is complicated in manufacturing. Okay. In terms of why I became an entrepreneur, very simply put, because I became entrepreneur very early in my life. Ampere, in fact, was the 5th venture that I started, and I wanted freedom. Okay, I just wanted to do things in my own way, my own style, my own pace. And because I enjoyed and I always liked to do my own things at my own pace, so that's why I chose entrepreneurship consciously. After I did small ventures, all mostly into services, I kind of roughly knew that how it worked, the mechanism worked, right? And then in about 2017, I decided to plunge into manufacturing. And I think the opportunity came through my husband. Actually, he's also a born entrepreneur, I should say. And then he was telling that, Hema, you wanted to do something in products. Why don't you do something in electric bikes? And I was very surprised because he was in a conference in Japan. He called me. He said that, you should try this. And as usual, I just sometimes, you don't take it, the comment seriously. But then I just thought about it because I was getting really bored into doing services, IT, products, and all that. And I thought something, I mean, services and more of service, how it works, right? Because in IT and all that, you either work for an MNC or you work for a services sector. And the challenges were a little bit, you kind of known space. So I want to do something in products. So when this opportunity came, I kind of dived into it, and I wanted to ensure that I understand holistically. So I did certain very good things before I came into starting this venture. So entrepreneurship consciously came into it because I wanted freedom. I wanted to do my own things. And then why I plunged into manufacturing? Three things. One is I want to get into products. I want to understand how a consumer, how the consumerism works. And then thirdly, how people conceive a brand. Okay, so for me that was a puzzle that I wanted to understand, I wanted to solve, and I want to fix it. And then so I thought, let me get into products. And then we took a conscious decision to be able to get into doing a quality product. And then that's how Ampere was born. Ampere is the name of the French scientist who discovered electromagnetism, and most of our ventures are all in the name of scientists and people that have contributed in science and technology. Manufacturing was very motivating for me. And within about what we started in 2008, and within about say about 9 months, we got the product certified. Everything was happening. It was just a fantastic momentum that I could see. When the momentum was fantastic, and we had the opportunity to be able to go step by step. It was so nice because it was fantastic actually, in that sense, not much of a thing. And because everything I had known, and then we were actually going very steadfastly in terms of the scale and growth, right? We were actually growing 100% year on year. And then suddenly come a very very biggest challenge that we know that in 2011 the government stopped MNRE subsidy, right? That was a learning for me, because from services side you don't work a lot with the government. And product side, in a space where the technology is new, product is new, concept is new, customers don't understand the product, a lot of things. So there were a lot of myths also about electric vehicles, are all imported, it will not carry two people, it will stop in the rains, it will not climb gradients, all the parts are not manufactured here. Of course parts were not manufactured, but that does not mean that the product cannot exist. So it was that kind of a challenge for us. Okay, so we kind of steadfastly grew. And then when the government stopped subsidy, that is when for me as an entrepreneur, it was completely a shocker, because your fixed cost remained, and then there's absolutely no sales, right? And it was a trying moment as an entrepreneur, because when you have even a small team and the fixed costs remain the same, how do you actually keep up the pace? Because employees have to be motivated, things have to go faster, right? In the sense that salaries have to be paid, your fixed costs remain, right? And then your supplies has to be paid. So I think that is one of the biggest challenge for us, because it was continuous. And after that we had immediately a battery crisis. Okay, battery suddenly failed. And then third crisis was Tamil Nadu had 16-hour power cut. So all problems come together at one go. And then I still remember one of my mentors came and told me, Hema, you have tried everything. And I think it is better for you to actually close shop and go back. And that was very shocking for me, because in my heart I was telling that I am doing everything right. Just because there is a small setback, why would I want to close this and go back? Because of course the situations were very very tough. So I still remember one night I was sitting in the factory all by myself alone, about 8 o'clock in the night, 2011, 12, and I was just thinking what should I be doing. And then group of about 10, 15 of my staff come to see me. So I know that they perhaps would be complaining about the things that we were actually facing through, delayed salaries and PF not paid and all those difficulties. A typical entrepreneurial journey. But then the lady who still works in Ampere, I think so, Chitra came and told me, ma'am, what is the problem for us? Okay, and when she just looked at me, I said, you go get the business, we will execute for you. There's absolutely no problem in the company. Our product is very, very good. My customer is my neighbor is using the product. They're all very, very happy with the product. You go get the order and we will execute. And that actually really that night, I actually have to tell to all of you that it was a spiritual awakening for me. Here are a group of people from a small town in Sulur in Coimbatore who's trusting this lady, stating that you go get the business and we will make it for you. And here we are with you to actually, think through and be giving all our energies for the company. And it was kind of, an reassurance. And that is when the moment I created that if I have to work for the welfare of these people, then everything is possible. So until such time, I was looking at a commercial venture. Of course, it's a commercial venture. Until such time, I was looking for, many, many things. And then it actually became that the moment I completely refocused the company and repurposed the company to focus on job creation, then everything fell in place. Okay. Because I focus on three things. I wanted to focus on innovation. I wanted to focus on job creation. I wanted to focus on women empowerment. So when all these three came together, I was able to think very beautifully, and then many things fell in place. Okay, that night I was conceiving what to do, and I knew for a fact that Mr. Ratan Tata was coming to Coimbatore. So within about 1-2 weeks, I conceive an email. I write to him, and about 2-3 weeks of me calling up his office, I get an email back from them saying that yes, Mr. Tata would meet you. Okay, so what I learned from this exercise is that, whatever setbacks that we get in our lives as an entrepreneur, it's all only temporary. Nothing will stay forever, right? The moment you take a problem solving approach, and the moment you take an approach of saying that I would be able to solve it anyhow, I will give my 200% to solve it. My whole the mind, body, energy, emotion, everything is aligned to the problem. Believe me, solution will come, and that came for me, right? In November, Mr. Tata comes to Coimbatore and I was not able to meet him. He said that he gave me time, but he could not because some of his meetings were stretched and he could not meet me. So, but the office called me back again stating that, hey, don't worry, in December he's coming, he'll definitely meet you, right? So a 10-minute meeting with Mr. Ratan Tata actually became a 45 minutes meeting. And then he told me that, my office will come back to you. And then he left. Okay. Right after 1 or 2 months, thanks to Mr. Venkat of Tata Trust, and I was able to go to Bombay, meet him, and then before end of that financial year, I got a check from him, right? And that was the first endorsement Mr. Tata gave to an entrepreneur who, who's actually not known to the investor circle, who's not known to anybody. And that actually gave me the confidence and assurance that if you are willing, there are people that can support you no matter what. Okay. And this was a life learning for me, right? And then no turning back at all, because and then immediately I meet up with Chris Gopalakrishnan in Bangalore, and then he makes 3 times investment income in Ampere, and most of the time the calls are only on the phone, and then 3 times he made an investment. And he was one entrepreneur who actually asked me the least number of questions and gave me the maximum support. Okay. So now, why I say is that because if you're not prepared, because funds have to be raised before you need them, right? And if you're not able to have adequate funds, at least for manufacturing companies, you typically need to have minimum 1 year and maximum of 2 years, working capital in the company to be able to, thrive on any crisis that you have. That was the first learning, challenge, and the learning that I overcome. Okay. The second learning was, building a quality product. Okay. Because I still believe that if you have quality, believe me, you don't even have to give terms for your dealers. You will not be able to wait for collecting the money. You will not be able to have to ask for many things, because the product is quality. Because until about the first about 6 to 7 years, we never gave any credit terms to any of our dealers. It was only cash basis. Okay. I still remember one of the challenges for us was working capital, right? So in 2013-14, I went to meet one of my suppliers overseas. And then this supplier is known to not extending any terms to any of our suppliers. Okay. and they're all very, very big, and they are very, very big players in electric. And then I went to see their CEO, and they're a very piddly, shota player, who's not even consuming, 300, doing 300 vehicles per month, right? And then here I am, an entrepreneur. I want to tell everything, and I want to get payment terms. And then I went there. Somehow we struck a chord, and then that lady entrepreneur told me that, Hema, we'll be able to extend 80 days credit for you, okay, with a small insurance guarantee. And that was the biggest support, because what happens is that the moment you get such a kind of support in terms of credit, right, you're able to roll over the credit, and you can actually do a sales turnover, right? So our turnover from 3 crore, 6 crore became 11 crore, and it just was, I was able to manage just with a very, very small cash credit from the bank, right? So I wanted to tell to all the people that are listening here is that, it is so paramount, so important, that sales and cash flows are with the hands of CEO until about to become a mainstream business. Okay, but what I mean by mainstream business, because in disruptive startups, until you kind of get to that curve where you have predictable revenue, I don't think you must let go these functions to your managers immediately, however trustworthy they are. The reason is that as a CEO, you're responsible to the board, you're responsible to stakeholders, you're responsible to your customers. So if you hold them, you're able to fantastically manage and ensure that you're not able to get into crisis situations, because in crisis situations you're able to balance it very well. Okay, so these two things I wanted to tell you. And then also in terms of the other aspect, we did lot of innovation. Okay, because thanks to our CTO, Mr. Bala, I think we were very careful. We frugally spent on innovation. Okay, because we didn't go top down approach to doing the so-called radical innovation, or the traditional way that automotive companies will do. They will actually do a requirements capture. They will actually do a top down way of research and innovation. We did bottom up, because we talk to our customers, we talk to our prospective buyers in companies, and we went to them saying, what kind of a product you need. So one of the clear things is that in terms of the product positioning, the target market identification. Okay, so many times I find that entrepreneurs kind of make a mistake. They said, oh, the target market is so huge, man, 300 million customers are a target market. I laugh sometimes, because it cannot be, 300 million customers can be your target customers. Yes, they can be your target customers after you establish viability, right? Until your viability is established, you got to be so very precise on the total serviceable market, because your addressable market can be big, but then serviceable market, you got to be very precise. So we decided that our vision has to be defined in two words, and we said that our vision will be affordable mobility, right? Affordable mobility, and of course our products were largely designed for the rural markets. So why I say is that the moment if you have a very well defined product and you identify target market, because in the first about 5 years of the business, we never expanded into any markets. We were only in 3 southern states. Okay, and we wanted to do the radius 50 kilometers we cover, 100 kilometers we cover, and then move to 300 kilometers. Okay, why I say is that that kind of a focus is what will make an entrepreneur successful. Because today when I see, I last week I was reviewing somebody's business plan, and he says, oh man, big opportunity is that because I'm getting an online order, this customer is from Delhi, I'll be able to do that. I said that cannot. Even if you get the order so easily, you look at the serviceability, you look at the product quality, you look at the complete cycle, right? Because the customer owns the product, they want the product for life. It is not that they will want to own the product for 3 months or 6 months, isn't it? So it is going to be so important. So it's absolutely important that we actually stay focused. So that focus is what I would say was one of the key differentiator for Ampere. Okay, so that was the second challenge in terms of quality, and we had many quality issues. Of course, little by little we overcome, and then very steadily we did many things in a very systematic manner, right? The other thing I also wanted to tell is about the team management. Okay, see, because when you're small, when you're nimble, and when you yourself as a CEO are taking such a small salary to be able to ensure that you sustain, how do you attract talent, right? This is the constant question that many entrepreneurs ask me. And the team is going to be very challenging to be able to ensure that you have a trustworthy team that's going to execute what you envisage to do, right? So in my case, I did three things. See, because I never wrote a job JD. I never wrote a job specification as such. Okay, and in the first 5 years of my venture, I largely hire talent by instinct and by gut and by intuition. Okay, I mean, many people will not agree to what I say, but for me it worked, mainly because I was hands on, I was in the business to be able to hire the people myself. And so all of our key people that we hired in the first about 5 years, I think, that are still in the company. Okay, that is the kind of focus that we actually worked on to be able to hire. I'll give you an example. I still remember, okay, because there was one evening, my car conked off, and then I actually wanted to go back home, and then I got a taxi. Taxi company came and picked me up. So as I was going, that driver, Murthy, I think he still works for us, had a conversation with me, ma'am, I think that, you're the, MD of this company, ma'am. I actually work, I'm an electrical engineer. And I said, what are you doing? Why are you driving a taxi? He said, no, ma'am, actually, I was working in Singapore and then I wanted to come back. I came back, then I'm working in this company, car company, but I wanted to work in this company. Okay. So I told him, yeah, talk to our HR. And then I just left out. And then promptly, after about 2, 3 days, he comes back to our office and then he says that I met madam, I want to meet the person, I want to get a job in the company. See, these are all unconventional talents that are available. And then if you're able to take them and give them certain nurturing and certain coaching, believe me, you will get the best output from them. Okay. So sometimes we never even hired a lot of engineers from the top institutions because we just could not have the budget to hire them. Okay. So we were very, very careful to be able to hire them within our budget. Okay, because there are three stages in the company at any point of time, right? Because one is going to be the viability stage. Viability stage anyway takes about 3 years, and then after viability, of course, the sustainability, that's taken another 3 years, and then only comes the real scaling, right? So in all the three stages, it's going to be very, very important that you get people that are staying in the company for the first 5 years, because if you have a lot of employee turnover, chances are your vision will not be able to be accomplished. Okay, so team is going to be very important, and that's how I manage. I looked at people largely whether the person is trustworthy, has integrity, number one. Secondly, is he from a good family background, he or she, and whether they have a willingness to learn. That's all was my qualification, nothing else. Okay, but it worked because if you're able to nurture them and you be with them and guide them, everything will fall in place, right? Because it requires, because in the first about 5, 6 years, every day, the burn for me, in terms of my own timing is going to be 16 to 18 hours. And I don't think so at any point of time I saw that as a chore and it's going to be very difficult. Oh my God, there's no work-life balance and all that nonsense. Okay, honestly speaking, because there's no difference in work-life balance at all. If you love your work, if you love what you're doing, there's no something called work-life balance at all. So we just moved on, and then I thoroughly enjoyed what I did, and thereby we were able to build a formidable, brand in about 7, 8 years. Right, Ampere was starting to known to many, many people. And fortunately also, because the founding team members, our R&D manager, and then our finance manager, our HR person, my assistant, and then some of them were all very stable in the company. So you need 4 or 5 people who are stable and who are kind of rock solid to stay with your vision. Yeah. So these are a couple of challenges. I also wanted to share one more journey where, in business, this is my experience, size does not matter at all, because it's no more the big versus small, in my view, because it's a fast versus slow in disruptive markets. Now, today, if you see with the COVID situation, many customers instantly have to change the strategy to go digital, right? So, if you have a digital acumen, if you have a digital literacy, many things can happen. Okay. At that point of time, when we were running company, we didn't have this kind of a problem that we had right now, but the focus was completely that we need to ensure we are actually able to leverage those anchors, and we are able to connect them, and we have to make them work. And also, when in terms of the mistakes, right? What are the common mistakes typically entrepreneur makes? Okay, uh, trusting the people too soon, too quick. Okay, trust is there, right? But then until about 3, 4, when you hire a new talent, don't even make any comment first 3 to 4 months, because it will take some time for people to know that entrepreneurial struggle and journey is very, very tough. Okay, and you also know the person. If you're not able to pay the salaries on time, whether they're able to support you, right? Number two. And then the third thing is, of course, whether the person is going to see through the way that you are seeing through. Okay, in our own company, the first founding teams, even the 4 or 5 members, when I look at them, they will know what I mean. Okay, that kind of an alignment is what will get you the result, right? And I was telling you about R&D, right? So many things we did frugally. And I still remember that in one instances I was taught, sorry, I drifted. I was talking about it's no more the big versus small, it's a fast versus slow. Uh, you know, 3 years after we started the company, we got an opportunity to participate in a government tender. And that was a tender where we have to bid for making vehicles for the disabled. Okay, and then here is a tender coming in, and then we actually go do the prototype, and then we actually want to make the prototype work, and then prototype work, the commissioner called, we bid, we actually got through L1, which is a technical spec we got through, and we actually went into L2. And then in L1 we did two things. Okay, what we did is that we also became very innovative. We said that if the physically differently able people have to have the scooter to run, they have to have the reverse function, because typically these people are very heavy on top, right? So what we did is that we want to ensure that we actually give the reverse function, and we actually made 4 shock absorbers within the scooter. So we actually differentiated in the product spec, and then when the technical committee met 10 people from different works, because the government tender, right, all of them will come from government, and then they said that this product is very well thought through and well designed for a person with a disability. And then we actually won the commercial bid also. And it's a we are actually fighting with big players for all 60 years, 70 years in the business, and we are here only 3 year old. Okay, and that taught me a lesson that size does not matter if you're able to conceive the idea, and if you're able to execute to the needs of the people and putting the purpose of why you're doing it first. Okay, and that's why I always tell that the purpose actually, if it's conceived very well by the founding team members, many things can fall in place. Okay, and all these things, most of the things we did very frugally. We didn't spend a lot of time in spending expensive softwares, having a lot of very expensive equipments, because we did what we could within our means and ensure that we actually focused on the quality and ensured that the production actually goes very well. Okay, so this was the other challenge that we had. And then one of the very serious mistakes that I made, which I wanted to share with all of you, is that uh, the first about 3 years I did not know the difference between accounts and finance. Shocking, isn't it? Because when service-based companies, it's very simple, it's straightforward, it's not too many complications. You just pass the service, you just perhaps add the tax, and then you raise the invoice. That's about it. But in a manufacturing company, you have stock, you have inventory. Stock becomes finished goods, and then at every stage, the pricing of the product uh, changes. And at every stage, how much of stock you have is also can be a liability for the company. And then how you manage this situation of having a very good accountant and then a very good finance person, that was a big learning for me. And then I made a big blunder. I still remember my finance was not stable at all in the first initial 3 years, and I paid a very big price for us, because we didn't have compliance on certain matters with the government, and that caused problems. And then the moment I understood where was the problem, we went and fixed it. Okay, and that is where for me the concept of having good mentors is came in. Okay, now I am actually extremely thankful for many mentors. I think I would want to mention 2 or 3 people here. Firstly, of course, my mentor from Singapore, Prof Hang, was one of my key mentors, who was absolutely trusting me and then ensuring that I stayed on track from Singapore. And then of course Mr. Sudeep Nandi, who is right now the partner at Chris Capital. He was one of the investors in Ampere, and he was also one of the key mentor. He was a mentor come mentor, such kind of an outstanding simple person who kind of guided me at every step. Right now, these mentors will not solve your problems. Okay, so mentors are only anchors. They'll only tell you what is good and bad, and it is for you as an entrepreneur, without getting influenced by the mentor, trying to understand the problem and do what is best for the company, for that situation, for that cash that you have in the company. So sometimes what happens is that we get carried away by mentors. Okay, the other mentor I also wanted to acknowledge is Mr. Shankar Jagannathan, who actually completely taught me corporate governance, because governance is going to be very important. Because I invested a lot learning corporate governance, compliances, quality assurances, and all that. Believe me, when we had an opportunity of an exit from an investor, we were kind of meeting most of the requirements. So that's very important as well, right? So I would want to actually let you know that in the kind of a venture that I went into, where the product was new, technology was new, concept was new, everything was new, everything was from scratch. You're still an early mover. Even today, if you look at it, electric vehicles is not even 1% of gasoline market, right? So what then is a challenge for the entrepreneur? Okay, when markets are high and low, right, and when where you're not able to get predictable revenue streams, right, then the only challenge for the entrepreneur is sustaining, right? And sustenance to every little things details, right? The devil is in details. So the first, 3 years was very good for us. But the next 3 years, when we wanted to scale, that's when government withdrew subsidy and many things happened, right? We had only one mantra in the company: how do we succeed? How do we sustain? And that sustenance really helped us to ensure that when the market, caught up, we were able to scale up and we were able to really go for the peak. And we had the revenues multiple year on year. We were month on month, we were actually scaling up. Yeah. So it is so paramount and important that I learned that sustenance was the only key that actually differentiated Ampere. Okay. And then, concludingly, what I wanted to tell you is that uh, purpose driven ventures never fail, in my view, right? And if you have the risk appetite, and then if you're able to work for 16 to 18 hours and you're able to have the drive joyfully, you can actually get into entrepreneurship, right? Otherwise, you cannot. It will be very tough in that view. And then, lastly, the power to take on big opportunity, the big responsibility comes only if the internals are aligned. Now, what do I mean by when the internals are aligned? Your thought, your deed, your action, if they are aligned, believe me, many things can fall in place. So, what did I do effectively? Because I actually gave 2 hours to me every day. 5 to 7 is my time. During that time, what I do in terms of my internal alignment, had many things work for me, because then you're able to handle the situation very calmly, in a balanced manner, and you will see solutions coming out. And I still do something. People will laugh if I tell, but what I used to do is that, when I have a problem, I will not go into solving the problem immediately. Okay, a critical problem has come. Fine, the divine has given me a challenge. I have to ensure that what is the learning from me, and I will immediately surrender the problem. 1 minute, close your eyes, surrender. When I surrender, I know that I got the solution. It worked for me. Okay. And these are all very small things where you kind of go through and you kind of maneuver yourself, right? And then you become solid in terms of what you wanted to accomplish. And I feel that see, if you take one good step, the divine kind of take 9 steps to guide you through, right? So it is so important that if you're aligning with yourself internally, and if you're able to give solid time to your thinking, to your thought process, because it's 80/20, right? What you think so deeply, that much you're able to execute within 20% of your time. I still remember Dr. Ramcharan, who was one of the coaches, in my very early days, right? I attended his session, and he used to tell, coming out with a very good problem is even more difficult than getting a solution. So whenever there is a problem, my factory people come, I will always send them back saying that go get a good problem defined first. Okay. The moment they come out with a big, good problem definition, they'll say, "Oh man, now we got the solution ourselves," right? So most of the time, I will be there with them. I'll coach them, and I'll ensure that I get the solutions derived out of them, and I will never want to solve the problems for them. And that became very easy. So, concludingly, I just wanted to tell you that, small beginning, okay, incremental improvement, sustained progress, monumental possibilities. Okay. And then finally, why did I exit this venture, right? Everybody wants to know. And I think I exited the venture consciously, mainly because uh, money, was not a motivation for me for anymore in my life. Okay. For me, valuations, money, 10x, 100x was not what I was cut up for. After some time I realized. And I am also an entrepreneur. I wanted to do things in my own way, and I wanted to ensure that I kind of get bored if I have to run month on month, quarter by quarter, and all that, right? As a CEO, I realized that. So when the opportunity to an opportunity to partner with Greaves Cotton came, I think I accepted quite graciously, and we kind of walked the journey. And I felt that they perhaps maybe wanted to scale the company in a very much rapid manner, and I said that I am not the CEO for such kind of a fast growth. Okay, so that's why I consciously came out, and then I think now I wanted to do bigger things in life, and I want to ensure that that exit, whatever I did, I think perhaps was the right timing for me. I think because now I'm able to do many different things, what I wanted to pursue, what I wanted to do, in terms of my next phase of life. So I think with that, what I wanted to tell is that I wanted to concluding remarks: never ever give up your goal, because once you're determined to make it and you see the viability of the business, stay put. Okay, because if you stay put, definitely you will be able to sustain and you will be able to scale. Number one. And number two, looks very simple, but very critical thing is prioritizing your business and your time management. Okay, don't fight the chicken shit, small shit, not worth it. Okay, just focus on strategic issues and ensuring that you actually have your team do the smaller stuff so that you can continuously drive the bigger things. And lastly, in my venture, I looked at everybody as one. I never differentiated people. I never wanted to judge anybody. Who are you to judge anyone, right? So when you treat all of them fairly and you actually have no gender biases and you wanted to get many women into manufacturing, many things can fall in place. So give opportunity to more women with whatever you do, right? So with that, I thank SINE for giving me an opportunity. I will be able to take any questions from now on.
Thanks, Hema, for that very insightful talk. You mentioned the vision of your company was affordable mobility,
Yeah.
and designed to the rural market, and your thoughts on big versus small and fast versus slow. That was very insightful. Hema, for most of our starters, when we engage at SINE, most of them struggle in terms of arriving at their product market fit. Are they building a product that the customer would really pay for? And how do they get market access? So two different things that we see startups really struggling a lot.
Yeah.
How was your strategy in terms of?
See, very good question actually, because go-to-market is a challenge for many in the service product sector. At least in product sector, you have something tangible to show. In service sector, it's even more tough. Okay. So one of the things is that what we did is that we did a customer research before even we built a product. I still remember in 2007 I went to India. I went to 3 states. I went to Kerala. I went to Bangalore. I went to Chennai, and I talked to many customers. See what is happening, right? And then we had hired few MBA interns, and then we made them the questionnaire, and we made them to go and talk to customers. We spoke to almost 1,000 customers, 1,000 prospects, right? Saying that if you have a product like this, if you have an electric scooter, what all are the features that you want? How much would you pay for it? What is that is mandatory that you must have, like that? So once you kind of do certain low cost market understanding strategy, many things can fall in place. Yeah. So that was one thing we did. And secondly, of course, like I said, we never went top down. We went bottom up. When I say bottom up, we actually built a product to a smaller market space, a smaller target market. Because like I said, initially, the first 50 kilometers from our factory radius is what for our target customers. So that means that much of mapping you have to do, because the moment you understand your target customer very well, believe me, many things can fall in place, because then your story is very believable. That's why I tell many entrepreneurs also, if you want to start something, don't try to spread yourself too thin, because it's not going to help you.
Thanks, Hema. And how did you, you found out the customers, but in terms of market access did you start as a direct selling to customers, or do you?
No. I think right from the beginning, our market access was through channel partners. Our dealers is our first customer, and we were very clear because, like I said, I wanted to build a brand. And when you want to build a brand, you want to focus on strategy, product, visioning, and all that. And you cannot be doing both together. It's just not possible, right? And there are many customers that have tried, and I feel that until otherwise, you kind of really envisage something very big, and you have lot of money, you can try direct market, but direct marketing would not work in this kind of a product where really product technology, everything is new. So you need somebody in the middle to be able to talk to the customer, because see, a dealer is always the first customer, because they understand the customer better than you, right? They talk the local language, they know what the customer wants. Even if there's a problem, they're able to manage for you, right? Otherwise, everything will go, in a fiasco manner. So I think that's very important in terms of, so it was very clear that, our dealers were the first customer. And then even to engage with the dealers, right? Even dealers, you have to treat the dealer with respect. You have to ensure that the dealer kind of listens to you and are able to position it very well to be able to carry the market to the product, right? So that was the other thing. Yeah.
Great. We have a question from Satyam Raj. He
Uh-huh.
asked, he's from Infinity X Innovations. My
Uh-huh.
question is, what key steps you took to advance from prototype stage to setting up a manufacturing facility? And how much time did it take from inception to the first sale?
Very good question, because I still remember, I think we launched our company in June 2008, and we did proof of concept, many levels of testing, all practical. Okay, we didn't have any expensive machinery. We will take the vehicle to Sultan Bathery in Kerala because it's got a maximum peak, right? And then we used to go check the vehicle there whether it climbs the peak or not. Okay, because electric vehicles are characterized by the speed you go, okay, and then the load you carry and the gradient you climb. Okay, so we used to do all very real life techniques to see whether it can do the job. And then I still remember that we started, and I think we got our product certified in October or November 2008 itself, within about 6 months. And that first year, I think that we had a revenue of 16 lakhs. Okay, so it was very good, because it's a myth. Many people think that, oh, electric, because any automotive means people think, very big, right? But for disruptive product like an electric bike, it's not the case, because it's only five key components: battery, motor, controller, charger, and converters, right? And if you're able to understand power electronics very well, this is a breeze. Yeah, it's not very tough. It is that kind of a clarity that we had actually.
Thanks. There was a question. Did you engage any consultants at any stage to?
Uh, very good question. I had good mentors, but I don't think I really depended on consultants in my early stage, because, I believe that if you are a hands-on CEO, many things you can learn without a consultant, and those learnings can be a wisdom for you, right? And then I did that very willingly, because I was actually then, new to India, because many things I was learning myself. So I didn't want a third party interference into the thinking of what I wanted to do. And I think retrospectively, if I think back, I think that was one of the best decisions, because it was cost savings, time savings, and I had gotten the wisdom and the knowledge.
You also mentioned, you had a good set of mentors, starting from a professor in Singapore to others. So how did you get access to that such really good mentors?
I think Prof. Hang was, already on the board of one of my husband's companies. So I kind of got to know him. And then Sudeep Nandi was my boss in Wipro. Okay. So it's always your alumni, your, people that you go to the nearest connect. But then I think for me, it was so nice, because, getting a good mentor, is, so remarkable, because they really shape your thoughts. Okay. And for me, I'm so grateful, because none of my mentors ever force their idea to me, say that, Hema, you should do this. All of them were kind of, really just would tell me the good and bad, and then say, Hema, you have to decide to make this work, right? So I wanted to tell you this, because if you get one right mentor, many things can happen. And then how do you get a right mentor? That's a question, right? One is, of course, you can go to your, your own circle of friends that you know, and then you can read up a lot, and people who write a good article, people who have done products and all that. And now you have LinkedIn very easily to access to people and connect, right? So but then when you get an access to such people, how do you leverage them? That is very important. I feel that if you are very emotional, and if you are too soon, too quick, try many things with a mentor, it will not work out, right? You just, if you want their time, the way that you engage with them is going to be very important. Okay, because I still remember, for me, a call with Chris Gopalakrishnan, used to be only 10 minutes. That's about it. But then if you're able to prepare for the call very well, believe me, many things can fall in place, right? So a prepared mind to be able to, so even when you have a, mentor-mentee session, right? What was the last discussion? What you to discuss, and give an update on whatever was discussed. And then you actually go back with the new problems to your mentors, right? So that's very important. So how you engage with the mentor is much more important.
Thanks. That was very useful. Preparing for the meeting before
There is
randomly.
one question here. Somebody is asking, how do you motivate yourself to aim high during the difficult times? I think that's a very good question also, because see, like I said before, difficult times are only transient times here, because difficult times never stay with you for life. Okay, they will come and go, right? But then if you're staying focused, if you stay put to be able to do what you wanted, and you're very clear, right, unwavering in your mind, right, not if you're tangled thoughts, if you have tangled thoughts, if you're if you're not cluttered, then you have a problem. So that is why what I did is that, honestly speaking, I resorted to my morning yoga and meditation. I just held as a tool that really helped me a lot, and that really gave me the clarity, vision, and it'll remove the noise from my mind. Okay, and also a very very good exercise every day that I used to do and all that. And like I said, 18 hours of a grind, if you do, many things will kind of the kind of problems sometimes, you'll be accumulated with problems, and it will get solved by itself over a period of time, so you don't have to worry about it. There's nothing called difficult or good times in business. I always tell to people that success is only a journey, right? Because once you are able to see that success is a journey, success is not a destination, right? I always used to tell my factory staff, I wanted to hold all of them, and then I just walk with them. That's about it. When your intention is good, everything will fall in place, right? So there's nothing called difficult time or bad times. To motivate yourself, ensure that you listen to good people, have good mentors around you, and ensure that you kind of stay focused on the goal.
You mentioned that in the first 5 years you did not expand. You were
Yeah.
very focused in that.
Yeah.
And in terms of scaling up, how did you decide now it was time to scale? It was a big opportunity.
Yeah.
When did you decide that this is time for you to spread your wings?
Scale. See, the thing is, it's a good question, because when the government withdrew subsidy in the first year, and after about 2.5 years, the second time subsidy was launched, right? The moment we know that subsidy was coming, we kind of knew that if you're just going to be stuck in South, we are not going to get anything from the mid market, right? The Mumbai's, the Hyderabad's, and all that, right? So we kind of, from South, we actually went into the what do you call, the West markets, a little bit the West markets. And once we mastered the West market, we went into down East kind of a thing, right? So little by little, 3 states, 6 states, 7 states, 8 states, like that we conquered. And then little by little, and then I think we were very clear that we chose good dealers to start with in the beginning. I think we also had made a lot of mistakes, but we fixed over a period of time. One thing, the time for us to scale came with the government announcement of subsidy. And we also know that our product had better quality. And then our team actually was hungry to do more. So everything fell in place. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah.
We received certain questions on the registration form. One of
Yeah.
which is with regards to Ratan Tata. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Ampere was one of his first investment in automobile company.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you kind of convince him, and in the short meeting that you had?
Uh, you see, all I did was I just took a chance to write an email to him. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, nothing else I did. Okay, but then that email, I took some time. I took almost a month and a half or something like that to conceive the email. What exactly I should write to him? Okay, because I know that if I'm able to get at least some kind of support from him, okay, that would have been very good. And then, because you see, of the hard work that we put, me and my team, we all put together, and he came to Coimbatore and we saw. Uh, it was only a 10 minutes meeting, right? So I told Mr. Tata, why don't you come and see our products? Because he was in Taj Vivanta in Coimbatore, and he was in, 8th floor. I told him, sir, would you be able to come and look at our vehicles? Then he looked at me, he said, oh no, I'm very busy. I have a lot of meetings. I don't think it will be possible. And then after the 10 minutes conversation, I don't know what occurred to him. And then he said that, Hima, would you be willing to wait? I have another meeting, then I can come and see the products. Okay. So then after I waited for 15 minutes, and he came down, and then he saw the product. And then when he saw the product, I think, the paradigm of electric vehicles being electric vehicle, he thought it was all retrofitted vehicles. He thought a cycle was a normal cycle retrofitted to be electric. But then ours was a truly electric cycle designed for electric mobility, right? It was not a retrofitted, right? So when those paradigms he observed, he said that this was very, very interesting. And he said that, Hema, he gave me 3 pieces of advice, okay? He said that, never take your rural customers for granted. Don't think that rural customers will not want quality. Okay, that was one advice he gave. Sorry.
Um,
Sorry, I think I lost you guys. I think sorry. I will repeat my answer. I think the question was, how did I meet Mr. Tata, right?
yeah, and you mentioned we heard till the part where you said that it was not a retrofit; it was actually made
That's
for
correct. Yeah, that's
those,
right. That's right.
those people for a.
Yeah, that's right. So then he also gave us a couple of advice saying that he understood our target markets. He said that, Hema, don't think the rural markets will not want a quality product. They are as important, and they will actually redefine your company's landscape, which was so true. And then the other thing also, what he said was, uh, don't bother about profits. Okay. So when I got such a very nice clarity from him, that actually lightened me a lot. And then I didn't know, because he was in Chennai, and then he met one of the reporters from the Hindu business line. Okay, and then he told them that he's actually helped an entrepreneur, in Hema, because the press was after him saying that, "Hey, did you make an investment in this automobile company?" Because it was a very big thing. I said, yeah, this entrepreneur was passionate and she was energetic, and I wanted to support her. Right? Why I say is that, if you are focused, if you are selling the vision very correctly, people kind of will not reject you. They will kind of help you throughout. So I think that was the big support for us, actually, yeah, in terms of me meeting him. And I think it is very paramount and important for everyone. I don't think reaching out to people is tough. Reaching out to people, but it's reaching out to people and then you systematically follow through to make it work is very important. Okay.
Thanks, ma'am, for the feedback. I think we are towards the end of the webinar now. Um, I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible.
Oh,
I think there's one question here. I think how to find best mentors and what shall we give them back for their time and efforts in mentoring us? I think that's a very good question. Sumit had asked the question. See, the thing is, like I said, I actually worked in Wipro, so I actually went through my Wipro connections. Okay. Fortunately, my Wipro friends were all then become entrepreneurs, and they all, some of them were entrepreneurs, some of them worked for big companies, so they kind of knew they have gone through the grind themselves, right? And I actually did not give anything to any of my mentors until I exited. I have to be honest here. Okay. That is the kind of a mentor I got. Okay. So it is so paramount that you guys invest in choosing your mentors. Okay. When you say choosing your mentors were really for the business, because in my case, the story of an affordable mobility for rural markets, the women empowerment, and then what we try to do to hire engineers from tier 2 tier 3 towns all resonated with certain set of mentors, right? And when they see that this lady is bound to do some good for a good cause, a societal cause, I think they will, they are willing to give their time. So that establishment is what you have to go and talk to a few people and then decide. And then the good thing is that for me, here are my yardsticks. Okay, I think that when you are wanting to validate an idea, if you talk to a mentor, your mentor should be able to return your call. First yardstick. The second yardstick is that make life comfortable for your mentors, right? For example, when they come and talk to you, talk about you to people and all that, ensure that you give them all the necessary data, make it very comfortable for them, okay? And then I took care of all their expenses, okay, in terms of their travel, etc., ensuring that, but I never had to give them any retainer at all. So at least expenses part, I had to ensure that I keep them happy, right? Number two. And then number three is that follow up diligently, right? When you get an advice from them, you tell them that I will try this out, and when I need, I want to come back to you. When can I reach you, right? So every call must have a follow up time and a date fixed, a timeline fixed. Because if you don't fix a timeline, you will just have generic mentors, and you will not be able to get that kind of an steady state mentorship, right? So that early mentors actually are so important in terms of the actual running of the operations itself. Okay, I have another good question from Madhu Bansal. She's asking me, can you share some key takeaways, especially in a totally different and male-dominated industry? She says, see, the thing is, uh, there's nothing called the struggle for the male is different from the struggle for a female. I don't think so. As an entrepreneur, the struggle is the same. Whether it is male or female, it does not matter. The struggle is the same, right? And there's nothing called women it's very difficult if you're a women entrepreneur. I don't think so at all. I think for a prepared mind, it does not matter. Number one. Number two is that wherever I went, whichever government office I went, wherever I went, I think I had communicated and articulated my problem very well. I think that's where I couldn't see a difference at all. So even I still remember, when we had to get our Part 2 license, right? Our SSI license, we had a problem. We were not able to get from Coimbatore. For about 2 months, I waited, and then I walked into the office. I said that, I want to meet the general manager. And the general manager was shocked that I went in my uniform. I sat there, I asked him. And then he said that, ma'am, what's the problem? I said that we didn't get our license. And I know that something was happening because it was just coming because you know what happens in a government office, right? I don't want to talk about it. And then he just spent 10 minutes for me. And then immediately he said that, oh, ma'am, I'm very, very sorry. And then he said, ma'am, oh, you are Coimbator's, something he said, you're Coimbator's, prestige, something like that. He said that, oh, ma'am, I'll come to your factory. And within 1 week, he came to our factory, understood what all we are doing, and then we got the license, right? So many times, it does not matter whether you're men or women. I think it is, for me, I always tell many women, please come into manufacturing. It's very fun. There's a lot of things that you can learn in manufacturing, okay? It's not difficult at all. There's nothing called, it's only, male can do it, right? I also wanted to tell, one of my managers told me that, I was telling him that you get many women in assembly line. And he was telling that, oh, no, madam, women very difficult, there'll be absenteeism, they can't carry, they will be very emotional and all that. It was going back and forth for 3 months, okay? And after that, I actually sidelined him, I removed him, and then everything fell in place. Why I tell is that, beyond the point, sometimes, right, when you wanted to ensure that you want to move forward, the bottleneck for the leadership is at the top, right? So if you are able to fix the top, it can be free flowing at the bottom.
Right. I think in the interest of time, I have just one question for you, Hema. Now that you have exited, what is the next steps that you decided?
Uh-huh. Many things. I think I'm actually coming out with my book on the actual struggles what I went through. I'm coming with a book. That book should be released in another end of this year. It is coming in both English and Tamil because I wanted people to read that, and I wanted many entrepreneurs to be able to come out and make themselves live financially independent. Okay, because you see, jobs are not the way to be able to make India as a developed country. Entrepreneurs can make India as a developed country. I strongly believe that because everywhere, somewhere when I go to talks abroad, everybody says, oh, India, third world country, developing country. Sometimes I get so mad when they brand India like that. Oh, the kind of wealth of knowledge, the wisdom, the thing that we have in India, cannot be belittled just because by few media reports. Okay, so I strongly believe that for India to become a superpower and India to become a developed nation, we need to create many entrepreneurs. So I'm actually coming out in my book where I want to encourage many women to come into entrepreneurship. So the three things that I want to focus, like I said, I want to focus on job creation in a very big manner, right? And then I wanted to ensure that women are empowered in everywhere that they go, because many women ventures are not funded. So I'm taking up that lot of critical issues. I am also the chair for Thai Women, one of the organizations, one of the initiative of Thai Global, the Thais Indus Entrepreneurs, and where we are taking up the cause of women. We are having our first pitch competition for women entrepreneurs. So all over the world, roughly we have, in the first year, we have reached out to 2,500 entrepreneurs. We are having the final pitch competition in Dubai in December, where the prize money will be 100,000 for a capable women entrepreneur. So we want to do many things for women: incubation, networking, education, investment, mentoring, many things for them. So I wanted to support women as much as possible to ensure that we are able to give a hand for them. And of course, innovation at every step is going to be very critical. I actually wanted to tell here that there was also one question. Somebody asked me here, when is the best time to exit? Okay, now, if your business is doing very well, right, if your run rate is very good, right, and capital is very well utilized, right, and then your burn is moderate, okay, your cash flow is positive and you're profitable, then why do you want to exit, right? So I don't think you must exit just for the sake of exit. But of course, if you as an entrepreneur wanted to cash out and exit, that's your personal choice. I feel that if you're occupied and if the business is working very well, I think what you should do is that you should just completely make that business as a self-running machinery and have the people to run it. And then you as an entrepreneur come out and take a chairmanship and then actually guide the people and then move on to doing other things related to the same business, right? That's the better way. And then exit really for the sake of exit is no good at all in my view. You exit for the right reasons and you exit for certain yardsticks that you define for yourself. Because when I built Ampere, I know that I'm not going to run this through my entire life. I really made it very clear when I started the company itself, right? So that was the reason. So many people ask me that question. So why do you want to exit and all that? So this is one thing that I wanted to cover. And then the other aspect is that somebody is asking me what are the cash flow projections, what are your cash flow projections, when will you break even and all that, right? Because I'm now no more in the company, so I can't answer those questions. But for any entrepreneur, told earlier, if you're able to have roughly at least 1 year of working capital, that is going to really help you in it to manage any crisis. Okay, that is the yardstick that you have. That means if for example, if your fixed cost of your complete expenses, okay, of your factory or whatever is it about, I'm just telling you, it's about 20 lakhs, then roughly 2.2 crores, 2.4 crores has to be with you, okay, in the bank at all time. And it's not likely that you will have it, everybody knows that, at least 6 months, and then slowly stretch little by little and ensure that you have a capable hand in finance to be able to manage the funds. Because I always tell that sales is like the blood in the body, and cash flow is like the nerves in the body, right? So if one nerve just pulls out, you can get an attack at any point of time. So it's very, very important that actually you maintain the cash flows properly. Yeah.
Thanks, ma'am, for that. And now people are asking, how can they get in touch with you? Is there a email or maybe LinkedIn by which they can reach
Yeah, I
out?
think LinkedIn is the best way to reach out to me. And then I always, if the email, whatever, if they come and tell me, ma'am, I've done a prototype, I need money, I will not going to respond. Okay, I want to tell very openly. But if the message is very well thought through and then very well validated, definitely I will be able to reply to them on LinkedIn and I'll be able to support them in whichever capacity that I wanted. And the thing is, nobody can find a solution for you, okay? Because it's your venture, your baby, your idea, your thinking, right? Everybody is only helping you. So if you're able to go with the correct question to the correct person, you'll be able to get the right answer. So if you just go to too many people and get too much influence and then get confused, I think that's going to be then a problem for you. Okay, so that is one thing that I wanted to tell all of you. There's also one more good question that I saw in terms of you know there's one more question that I saw in terms of how do you engage with the team, or how do you ensure that you kind of stay connected with what's happening, right? See, one thing that we used to do regularly is that we used to have a very systematic weekly review, okay, with my the middle managers. But then some of the factory people at the factory saw me from the very early stages, right? And there was a disconnect with them. And then that disconnect was, they couldn't take it. And every time when they have a problem, they say, in Tamil, na madam kitta pesikren, na madam kitta pesikren, they will say, and the middle managers will get so angry. They said, I'm the manager, why do you want to go to madam, right? So then I didn't know how to handle it for some time, okay? Then what I did is that we did something very interesting. We did something called a monthly pledge, okay? So what we did, we made the entire staff to take, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's pledge every day, right? And once we took the pledge in terms of what are the things that how will we conduct ourselves and all that, right? Then I will address them every month. I will tell them what happened last month, what is happening this month, and what will we do next month. So all of the 100 plus, 200 plus factory staff got an idea of where the company is going, and that kind of glued all of us together, right? And because, I mean, these are the people who are not in sitting to get a, in front of laptop, and they're all not, they're all simple, ordinary people, right? Coming from a small village, and they're all people who come for a job, be happy, go back, live, very simple ambition, right? So to be able to connect with them is very important, so as you scale, as you grow, it is important that you don't forget your workers, because I think they are going to be the key at any point of time, right? And I think their love and affection, and their trust in me, I think is, I don't think words can explain what I enjoyed with them, actually.
Right. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for your time today. Much appreciated. And I know it's late evening in Singapore for you, but thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. It's been very inspirational. I personally have got, um, I just turned my video on. I personally, I also got very motivated, and setting aside the 2 hours in the morning, waking up in the morning, and that's, I think, one thing I want to put it into practice, I think, as a takeaway from the session to start with. Thank
I
you so
think
much.
everybody should. Yeah. Good luck and all the very best. Nice talking to all of you guys. Very, very good questions, set of questions. And then I will certainly, when I come to Mumbai, I will come and visit you guys. Okay.
Sure. Thanks a lot, ma'am. And I just want to also to the participants, we have the next session. In fact, on the 27th of August, and this is on sales storytelling. You have an idea, and now how do you pitch to investors, and how do you tell your story? And this is by Subinder Khurana as part of our. He's a coach for the plugin program, and plugin is the accelerator program jointly organized by DST, Intel India, and SINE. And this is the second webinar we'll be having as part of this. And for now, I would like to really thank Hema, and for the feedback, we will be sharing the feedback form to the registered participants. And for those who haven't registered, I've just put in our email address. It is sine@sineitb.org. And look forward to receiving your feedback. And thank you so much, ma'am, once again for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.